Hello, everyone. Good morning. I hope you are all having a lovely Sunday. How are you doing? I hope you are doing well and keeping safe and getting those vaccine shots. I am Manali, and as you all know, our preparation for NABARD 2021 is in full swing in ixamBee. So, in my last couple of live sessions, we have been talking about NABARD exclusively, right? So, if you remember, in my last live session, I talked about RC, and before that, we discussed different ways of preparing for the exam. Last couple of live sessions, we have been talking. Today, let's talk about sentence rearrangement, another very important topic. And hello, everyone. Welcome to the session. Please let me know if you have any trouble seeing or listening to me. Welcome to the session. Thanks for joining. Hello, Utsav. How are you? Thanks for joining. Okay. Ah, let's start off with sentence rearrangement. Yes, absolutely. This sentence rearrangement, it comes in different forms in almost all government exams, right? It can be simple, difficulty level can be easy, moderate, or difficult. But the main idea is to rearrange the sentence based on certain logical progressions. Now, this is one area where what we usually advise is that you start preparing your grammatical concepts, you start revising your tenses, parts of speech, subject verb agreement. But here, we need to follow a different strategy altogether. And the key when it comes to sentence rearrangement is practice, practice, and practice. With this in mind, let's start off and quickly look at the core content areas because I aim to cover most of them in my live sessions. So if you remember, we talked about reading comprehension, so this is done. Today we're going to look at sentence rearrangement, and we also talked about the strategies to revise or prepare the other content areas. Now, when it comes to sentence rearrangement, today we are not going to do it from scratch. Okay, we're just going to look at the four main strategies, four main steps, and then we're going to go ahead and do some practice. Okay, hello Vikram, good morning. I hope you are doing well. Hi Karan, hello Yaman, good morning. Okay. Now, the first thing, and don't worry, as we discuss the set today, we are going to try to see if we are following all these four steps or not. Just a quick revision. The first step is to identify the main purpose. The first thing you do when we start is ask yourself, what is this set talking about? Okay. So obviously, whichever sentence introduces the topic will be your first sentence. That's one way of going ahead with it. The second is that identifying the pronouns. So if you get pronouns in the sentence, he, she, they, try to find out the main noun to which it is referring to. Okay, try to go back. Usually what happens is that in the first sentence, the main character is introduced, the subject is introduced, And in the next few sentences, the pronoun is used. So once you can track that, a little bit of backtracking you need to do, you will be able to identify the first sentence. Next, chronology, which means time. Okay, so try to see if it is referring to time. Words like yesterday, day before yesterday, tomorrow, henceforth, earlier, before, once upon a time, all these things will tell you when that incident is taking place. And obviously, if you can follow the time sequence, you will be able to organize your sentences. Again, there's nothing to worry because we will be solving two sets together. So there we are going to try and implement all these strategies. And the last one is remember the keywords. Now this is something very important. Try to remember the important keywords, and this is the slide that's very important. So we need to look for introductory keywords like nowadays, a, and beginning. We will also have concluding keywords like thus, therefore, eventually, clearly, finally, right? So these are all concluding keywords. They end the para jumble. It's also called a para jumble because the paragraph is jumbled, or a sentence rearrangement set. Now there are words that create a pair. So it can be a contrasting pair, it can be a comparison, a comparative pair. So here we use words like likewise, similarly, yet, although, on the other hand, and the last one is connected. So additionally, in addition to this. So the moment you see additionally, try to find out the sister sentence or the twin sentence, and you can form a pair, and you know they will go together. Okay? Let's quickly keep this in mind, and let's look at a proper set. Okay? Okay. Let's try to look at this set. Give yourself a minute and read this. Okay. Now, the first thing, remember the first step? Identify the main purpose. Okay, now when you're reading it, what do you think is the set talking about? That's the first question you should ask yourself. What is this set talking about? Okay, now if you read this very carefully, you will see it is talking about. See, yesterday the chip maker released a security advisory that lists new vulnerabilities in ME. Please look, I didn't try to, these are tips and tricks and clues. ME. So it is an abbreviated form, right? So if it is if this is an abbreviated form. So try to find out a sentence where you get to know the real content about ME. Okay, so new vulnerabilities in ME, as well as bugs in the remote server management tool server platform services, and Intel's hardware authentication tool, trusted execution engine. So we are talking about a software, and no, a remote administration system that was launched by Intel. Okay, now if you read all these sentences, yesterday, this cannot be the first sentence because it has the abbreviation form. Now, a paragraph will never start with an abbreviation form, with a short form, right? You will have the full form mentioned. So this cannot be your first sentence. B, let's look at B. Security researchers have raised the alarm for years about the Intel remote administration feature known as the management engine. Known as the management engine. Management engine is being introduced here. It has a good probability. Hi Prachi, hello, thanks for joining. Now look, now after several research, don't read any further. It again has a short form. This cannot be. B, it has also published. It, we need to see here the pronoun, right? So we need to find out the real noun. So this cannot be a first sentence. The platform, which platform? The platform means we already know about the platform. It's a specific platform. Which platform? So E cannot be a first sentence. Intel found the vulnerabilities after conducting a security audit spurred by recent research. The vulnerabilities. So vulnerabilities have already been mentioned. So we are not getting any further, right? Which means what? Let's look at option B as the first sentence. You see how I am following the clues like a detective and trying to find out the first sentence. Okay, hi Ritu, good morning. Okay, now that we are done, so we know the platform we are talking about. Security research have raised the alarm for years about Intel remote administration feature known as the management engine. So management engine was introduced by Intel, but there are some problems. Raise the alarm means security people are telling that there are some problems related to security. So now we know what this passage is all about. Security issues related to Intel remote administration feature known as the management engine. Fine. Now we need to find out the second sentence. Okay. Now, the platform has a lot of useful features for IT managers. So we are getting to know more about the platform. E is telling us more about the platform. So E is your second sentence. But it requires deep system access that offers a tempting target for attackers. Compromising the management engine could lead, hi Monica, good morning, could lead to full control of a given computer. So what are we getting to know here? We are getting to know that management engine is good. It has a lot of useful features, but there are some problems related to security issues. Okay? And if someone gets control of this platform, they get full control of the given computer. Remember, security researchers have been talking about the issues related. See, it's directly related. B is raising the alarm. E is talking about what led to the alarm. What are the issues? Why are people scared or worried? Did you get it? Right? So B, E, we are done. We get first two sentences done, right? Next. So we are moving with the fears, the scares, okay, the possibility of a compromise, right? Look at now C. Now, after several research groups have uncovered ME bugs, Intel has confirmed that these fears, see, these fears, getting full control of computer, tempting target for attackers, they might be true, they might be possible. So C is talking more, telling you, giving you more information about the possible reason for getting alarmed. Fine, so we know B, then we know E, then we know C. Okay, fine, right? Now, what is Intel doing? Intel has confirmed that things can go wrong. Fine, but they need to tell the common people, they need to, publicize this, tell people that yes, there are valid reasons to get worried. Okay, so you need to be careful. That's what Intel should be doing, right? Because it's a problem with their own Intel own their own management platform, management engine, which is their own platform. So they need to tell the common people, yes, there are reasons to get scared. A is doing exactly the same thing. A is telling you the chip maker, which is Intel, released a security advisory that lists new vulnerabilities, new problems in management engine, as well as bugs in the remote server management tool, server platform services. There are problems with two areas. Intel's hardware authentication tool, trusted execution engine, a lot of problems. So they are telling the common people you should be cautious and careful. So A becomes the next sentence. So we are done with B. Then we know we have E. Then we know C. Then we know A. So we are left with F and D. Right? Now, vulnerabilities is echoed in F. How did Intel find the vulnerabilities? They found the vulnerabilities after conducting a security audit. So it's directly related to A. Right? So F comes next. And what did they do about it? They published a detection tool, a software that will police, okay, that will supervise. It also published a detection tool so Windows and Linux administrators can check their system to see if they are exposed or not. So they launched a software detection tool which will help them to identify the possible threats and neutralize it. Right? This is the difficulty level, if you ask me, this is moderate to difficult. Fine. But if you follow the steps, if you see how I have been following the trail one after the other, you just need a little more practice to get a good command over sentence rearrangement. Okay, good morning, Karan. Good morning, Monica. There you go. B, E, C, A, F, D. Right? Okay, let's try another one, shall we? Here's the second one. Fine, let's do this together again. First question, what is this all about? Give yourself a minute, read this, and then you can try to figure out the arrangement. Okay, let's start. Fine, so what are we talking about here? We're talking about influenza, okay? And we are also talking about a lot of data related to casualties, related to occurrences, related to its virulence. Fine, okay? I'm sure you must. Virulent or virulence is a word that's been extremely, no, it's circulating a lot because of the COVID pandemic. Okay, we also talk about the virulence there. So now what's happening here? Look at the first sentence, but. So don't even read ahead, don't even move ahead. But you cannot have the first sentence starting with but. It won't start with but. Fine, so that goes. Process of elimination. Sometimes you use your brains and logic, and sometimes just use process of elimination. I promise it's easy. You can do it. It's not difficult. Oh. But no, this cannot be your first sentence. The problem with these official figures, which means what? The official figures have already been mentioned. It should have been mentioned. That's the reason we are specifying the official figures, but it hasn't been mentioned, right? So this cannot be a first sentence. Got it? So let's process of elimination. This cannot be a first sentence. Okay? Look at C. Ever since the influenza virus known as H1N1 landed on Indian shores during the 2009 pandemic, outbreaks have been an annual occurrence. This is introducing the topic. The virus, the disease, how it started in India, now it's been an annual occurrence. So all the points are covered here. C is our first sentence, right? Okay, let's try to look at the second sentence. This year, the virus has been particularly active. Mortality at 1873 by the last week of September is quickly catching up with its 2015 toll. Please understand. Which means what? There must have been some information already about what happened in 2015. That's the reason this sentence is referring to it, cross-referring to it. So we need to find a sentence that talks about what happened in 2015. So you have E talking about here what happened in 2015. The worst was in 2015 when 2990 people succumbed to it. So we have C, E. Next you come to D because T and E is a pair. They are referring to each other, right? So C, E, D. So 3 done. Next, in comparison. Now there is a comparison. Between what? 2015, 2016. Official figures show 2016 to be relatively benign year with an H1N1 death toll of 265. So again, it's a pair. In comparison, it's a comparative pair. So F, right? So C, E, D, F. C, E, D, F. Fine? Now you come to B. B is referring to these official figures, this set. The problem with these official figures, however, is that they only capture H1N1 numbers. A practice that has been adopted to the severity of the 2009 pandemic. There's a problem, okay? Because these figures are in response. They only refer to what happened in 2009 or after 2009. There's a problem. And what is the problem? That's how you conclude this passage. Influenza was present in India even before 2009 in the form of H3N2 and influenza V virus types. So that's the problem. So we conclude with A. So here is our answer. C, E, D, F, B, A. And this is how it's been explained. Okay? It's a bit tedious, but you will get a good command over it if you practice. You have to practice. Sentence rearrangement is fighting against time, running against time, and you have to practice. Sentence rearrangement can take a lot of your time because if you're stuck with a sentence and you are trying to, it's like a puzzle, right? You start trying to put the pieces in the Rubik's Cube. It can take a lot of time. And the only way to go ahead with this is to practice. At ixamBee, all our mock tests are free. So why are you waiting? If you're preparing for NABARD, this is the time to take those mock tests and assess your performance. I hope you liked this session. I hope you found the session useful and you're going to really gear up and start practicing. That's all for this video, and I'll be back very soon with another video. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned.